Hello, my name is Fred Widdison. I'm a 65-year-old grandfather. I've got interstitial lung disease. I've been a boxing trainer for um, 3 decades or more. Um, I'm also, I have a full-time job, and I enjoy a lot of different things in reading and writing. And one of the things I enjoy is I've written a couple of fiction works, and they're for sale on Amazon. Um, and, and so I have one that I'm going to start with. I'm going to read from occasionally. I'm not going to do this every day, but I'm going to read from it in case you'd like to hear it. Um, and it's called A Series of Miseries. It's a novella. So I'm going to start. It's sort of a crime mystery, um, story. So I don't know if anybody would be interested in hearing this, but sometimes people maybe would want to hear, like at night before they go to bed, a story as opposed to buying a book and reading it. So just in case, I'm going to start, and because it's fun, and I'm going to begin now. So the book is A Series of Miseries, a novella. Now it starts. Section one. His name was Harold Niederer. He was given no middle name, and he always thought his parents were playing a mean joke on him by naming him after his grandfather. At times, he thought he was the only Harold he knew or had ever met, although that couldn't possibly be true. Fortunately for his sensibilities, God intervened and gave him a shock of bright red hair, so he received the nickname Red early on, so that was how he was known. Other than being the cause of him having to get into fist fights several times in school because of the attention his hair drew to him, he was satisfied with the nickname. However, now in his early 60s, he was completely bald with a gray goatee. So, besides being called Red by his friends and colleagues, everyone else just called him Sir. Not necessarily out of respect, but just because they considered him old. Red sat at his computer as he did every morning for as long as he could remember and listened to Mantovani's orchestra playing Harlem Nocturne to start his day. It was his daughter's favorite, quote, old person song, she called it. He caught her listening to it when she was in a good mood, a hopeful mood, but her hopefulness came to naught. She committed suicide 20 years ago, the previous fall. He felt like he was staying faithful to her by listening to her favorite old person song, and he remembered her every day. Red's cell phone played a blues riff to let him know someone wanted to reach him. It was Randy Zoombroom, the Eastern Regional Police Chief, an old friend who took Red's place in the office of chief when Red retired the previous year. Hey, Zoomy, what's up? Hi, Red. How's it going? You doing all right? Since Zoomy had never talked like this since Red retired, this caught Red's attention. Is something wrong, Zoomy? I mean, I'm okay, but you never asked me if I'm doing all right. Doesn't sound like you. Red, I don't like having to say this, knowing how painful the memory of your daughter can be. Red felt a little confusion at the way this was going. It felt uncomfortable. I guess I'll have to say it. O'Brien killed himself this morning. Now Red was really confused. Why would he do that? Red asked slowly, in shock. That doesn't make any sense. When I left him yesterday, he was in a good mood. I wanted to ask you about that interview. You were going to let him know he wasn't under investigation and he was cleared. Isn't that what you did? What'd you say? First off, Zumi, Red stated flatly, it wasn't really a formal interview. We met at the coffee shop on the corner of Route 30 and talked about old times when he and I were on opposite sides of the law. I told him how I admired him for turning his life around and becoming a successful businessman of a very legal business. I assured him that we had cleared him of any involvement in the fentanyl shipment we'd recovered, no matter what the newspaper said. We were laughing and joking. He seemed relieved, but not surprised. Red repeated, this makes no sense. Zumi paused. I appreciate you doing me that favor. I only asked because you and him had a long history. Now I have to ask you to visit his widow. Kathy asked for you. I don't know why. There was a pause. He left a note. It said he couldn't take being accused of a crime after all he'd accomplished and being persecuted by the police for a long since dead past. Red muttered, persecuted. Zumi interjected, we're not going to be able to keep this out of the paper. I just want you to get ahead of it if you'll do this for me. Red sighed and looked out the window above his laptop. Suicide, he thought? Why? This is crazy. As much as he hated thinking about the topic, he knew he had to see Kathy. He owed it to her and to O'Brien. What the heck was going on, he wondered. So stay tuned for part two.